Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson, and welcome to Going in Raw Countout, the only top 10 countdown type show found right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, wherever fine podcasts are available, including the CastBox app. Ooh. Got a great partnership with CastBox. It's a great app. Yeah. Check it out if you haven't.
Definitely.
And if you have, leave us a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 comments.
Oh, man. I want to see. So
we're like approaching 900 as of Tuesday.
This is today.
About 3 o'clock in the PM.
Tuesday, we did this on Tuesday. The episode went up.
That's not CastBox.
The episode went up today about an hour ago. Not even an hour ago. Let's see how many comments. Oh, we passed 900, Larson. We passed 900.
We want to get 1,000 by, which would be tomorrow.
Yes.
Money in the Bank Sunday. We want to get 1,000 comments by then.
I'm gonna read this right here.
Oh, that's a long one.
That's a really long one. I'm not gonna do that one. Chaotic Snipe. You guys are the reason I started watching wrestling again. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Road to 1,000. Oh, hold on. This one too. David Bailey. Love the Vic Mackey reference, Steve. The best TV show I've ever seen.
Thanks, friendo.
I might go back in and actually type out a
there
thanks,
you go.
Anyways, so yeah, in the other video that went up today, we're taking a look at the reasons why New Japan is better than WWE, and of course in this video, vice versa. 10 reasons why WWE is better than New Japan. Of course, New Japan had their big Dominion show last weekend.
Fantastic.
Fantastic show. Up and down the card, really fantastic.
Top to bottom, maybe the best show of the year.
Could be. It got people buzzing about New Japan again. Every time they have one of these big shows, a huge thing happens. This time, of course, Kenny Omega took that title off of Kazuchika Okada in an epic match. We're actually filming this on Tuesday. By the time this actually goes up, we'll know how many stars.
Oh, he already said it. He thinks it's the greatest match he'll ever see.
But how many stars does that translate to?
If it's anything less than 7, I might be mildly disappointed.
I think it's got to be 6.5. He can't get to 7, can he?
Why not?
7 is
he went from 5 to 6.
There's never been a 7-star match.
No, but was there a 6-star match before that? It was the Misawa.
There was a 6-star match. Yeah, there's been a couple 6-star matches.
Okay. So 7, yes.
I don't know.
Break the entire scale.
But of course, he gets everybody saying, "Oh, I don't watch WWE, only watch New Japan," and then WWE fans are like, "Oh, screw that, we go WWE." And so we decided to pour some fuel to the fire.
All right.
And then with this video, of course, we're gonna illustrate right now 10 reasons why WWE is better than New Japan Pro Wrestling. Number 10.
10.
It's got the largest stage in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
literally, probably.
Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom is a pretty huge show.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that usually has a attendance of about 40,000.
Okay, sure.
WrestleMania is kind of like the bare minimum, like 65.
Yeah.
And then now they're starting to book stadiums. This upcoming Rumble is going to be at Chase Field in Phoenix, where the Arizona Diamondbacks play. We've heard they have plans to move SummerSlam to a stadium. So that seems to be the direction they're headed for the major 4 pay-per-views, make them all stadium shows.
Yeah.
Granted, not the same size as WrestleMania, which is, like large football stadiums, but, baseball stadiums, 40,000 seats or so.
Just also, like, beyond that, generally speaking, you look at their television reach.
Yes, I was just about to
They're in like 1,000,000,000 countries or whatever around the world. Of course, here in the States, Raw and SmackDown do around between 2.5 and 4 million viewers, depending on the show. Of course, that might increase with SmackDown moving to Fox next year. Versus New Japan, which is on Access, which I don't even think I have with the PlayStation View.
I don't know if I have it on my cable provider either.
And so it's like, granted, we watch ours on New Japan World. It's a fine streaming service, but WWE is everywhere. And I think that is the appeal for a great number of wrestlers. Some people out there might think, well, I'd like to know, I'd like to take on the challenge of wrestling on the grandest stage of them all, see if I can succeed in that environment. Who wouldn't? I mean, I would only imagine it's a fairly overwhelming thing to step out on a stage and have 80,000 people staring back at you. That's got to be really weird.
But it's got to be exhilarating too.
Yeah, I would think so.
To go out there and perform.
Yeah, I think it'd be amazing. So yeah, they obviously far and away have the largest stage in the grandest stage of them all. That's what they call it.
Yeah, what's they call WrestleMania?
Right, correct. The WrestleMania annual event.
Grandest stage of them all. Pay-per-view spectacular.
Number 9.
9.
Mainstreaming wrestling. That's what the WWE is all
John
about.
Cena on the Today Show.
That's not Kazuchika Okada. That's not Kenny Omega. Only one man is powerful enough to fireman carry Al Roker, and that's John Cena.
John Cena. I think he's basically a regular on the Today Show these days.
I think he's like co-hosting these days.
Something like that.
So you got John Cena on the Today Show. You got The
Seth
Rock.
Rollins showing up on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
You got The Rock, the hottest Hollywood commodity today, maybe ever. The WWE, especially recently, has been making huge inroads into, once again, for the first time since the Attitude Era, I'd say, sort of re-mainstreaming.
Well, I think
wrestling
in certain avenues they've outpaced the Attitude Era in terms of mainstream coverage. Because during the Attitude Era, I remember mainstream publications ever writing articles or doing recaps to the same degree we see now.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that's true.
Numerous mainstream publications.
When you get through to Sports Illustrated and ESPN, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Forbes.
Yeah. USA Today.
Yeah.
USA
Today.
I mean,
WCW did that.
Well, I mean, because they put the belt on David Arquette.
Right.
Which I guess would appeal to the business traveler.
The business traveler, exactly.
But you got that, and then you got Ronda Rousey, who they brought in as a mainstream crossover star. And they're pretty much the only promotion in the world that can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, New Japan and gets a lot of good press, like in Vice and Rolling Stone. Sports Illustrated is, they'll interview Kenny Omega fairly regularly. But yeah, This Week in Wrestling on Sports Illustrated is predominantly WWE content.
Well, and also a lot of the coverage that New Japan gets, I've noticed with Sports Illustrated or some of the more mainstream outlets out here, they always frame it kind of like the same way comic book movies were framed for a long time, or comic books in general. They're no longer for kids. Well, New Japan, they're usually framed, you can do this outside the WWE, That's how it is.
Yeah.
Oh, they can do this. They were in there, and then they're not there, and they're still getting by without the WWE.
I know. I mean, yeah. How many articles been written on the Young Bucks about how
they can do without WWE.
They can do without WWE.
Exactly.
Well, of course they can. Not every wrestler needs to go to WWE.
Right. And so, that just shows kind of how big the reach, we talked about that a moment ago, is with the WWE. If you're not with them, it's like, it's a miracle you're even alive.
You're not living in your car?
Right.
Exactly. And now with SmackDown going to Fox, broadcast Fox, not Fox Sports 1, it's only going to increase WWE's mainstream reach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Number 8. Video games.
Yeah, WWE has a lot of video games.
Yeah, they've got this cornered.
Oh yeah, you have the whole WWE 2K series,
massively popular,
and then you have a series of mobile games. You got Supercard,
Supercard,
there's Mayhem.
Okay, yeah,
might be others.
Probably,
I don't remember. But New Japan is finally getting their first game, I believe, of this current generation of consoles. But it's a tie-in with Fire Pro Wrestling,
which itself is like sort of a throwback game.
Yeah, it was a PC exclusive game. It's getting released for the PS4, but with New Japan content.
Yeah.
But it's not packaged as a New Japan Pro Wrestling video game.
Right, and it's certainly not as sort of... It's just not the same. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. New Japan is cool.
Yeah.
But, it's when you have... And granted, like 2K, the 2K series isn't everybody's cup of tea. They're very ambitious games.
Yes.
And I think that under the 2K banner, it's obvious, from our involvement or our, being able to observe a lot what's going on over there, they have plans, like even grander plans for the 2K series. It feels like they want to turn the WWE 2K series into a phenomenon like the NBA 2K series, where it's an event whenever it comes out, and just get stronger and stronger with each outing. And they're very, very ambitious games, massive undertaking.
Yeah.
It doesn't even come close. Meanwhile, over in New Japan, it's like, oh, cool, that some of the characters have a cameo in a Yakuza game.
Yeah.
They don't have their own sort of franchise video game series of their own. I feel like that, obviously it costs a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
But, they seem to be very, very specific with what markets and what, things they want to, what outlets they want to target. But yeah, no, video game. WWE has the video game scene on lock.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like when you go into the custom creation characters in WWE, there's like, WWE roster members who didn't make the game for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's people who left.
And then New Japan.
And then New Japan, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, and celebrities.
Yeah.
And superheroes and Donald Trump. Number 7.
7.
More involved storylines. Now, this isn't always for the better, but...
No, but it's good to have that option because,
Yeah.
While it doesn't always work, for example, the Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley business they've been doing lately, which is overly involved and complicated when it doesn't need to be. You have instances like the Ultimate Deletion, which granted has its roots back in TNA with the Final Deletion, but still, you have this feud which lead to this highly produced video package that's shot on the Hardy compound, that's aired during an episode of Raw.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would do that kind of stuff in New Japan because everything's pretty much settled in the ring. But it's nice to have that wrestling presented in such a fashion when it's done well and done right, because it's just a different way to explore the storytelling medium of wrestling.
Yeah. It's like it doesn't always work great, but you do get things like Randy Orton burning down a guy's house.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to the Stone Cold McMahon feud,
Yeah,
that was far more involved storyline than at least anything we've seen in New Japan since we started watching.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of sometimes it's super goofy. Sometimes the goofiness is really fun. Sometimes they can do that. I think that a lot of the Shinsuke AJ stuff right now, I think could be done in New Japan if they kept it a little a bit simpler. So some of it feels kind of throwback to some New Japan stuff, but a lot of it they couldn't do in New Japan. They've got their weird story being told. And I think it actually kind of works for that feud. So yeah, they do that. Like you said, bottom line, it gives them more options to explore storylines.
Yeah, they don't always work, but it's good to have that option.
Yeah. Number 6.
6.
Gimmick matches.
I believe New Japan had their first ladder match, I think 2 or 3 Dominions ago. It was Omega versus Michael Elgin for the Intercontinental title.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Prior to that, they hadn't had a ladder match in New Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they've had cage matches, but it seems that in New Japan, they tend to just like to settle things in the ring, usually just between 2 competitors or 2 tag teams.
Yeah.
Without a whole lot of gimmicks attached to the match.
Yeah, I was even surprised that they did it this past Wrestle Kingdom, the junior heavyweight fatal 4-way, because I had read that they're just not huge on that. They're not huge on triple threats. They like it either singles or like a giant, 8-man tag match. And so, WWE, could it be argued that they have too many gimmick matches? Yeah, probably.
They definitely have too many pay-per-views. Gimmick matches.
Like, TLC shouldn't be its own pay-per-view, but my God, a lot of those TLC matches back in the day and even some of the ones that they have these days are a lot of fun. Hell in the Cell this year was actually that main event match with Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon was a lot of fun, and it led to a crap story on SmackDown, which had a lot of promise to it.
Yeah.
So like the first, when Sami Zayn helped Kevin Owens out in this situation. It was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And then it turned to crap.
Well, it eventually led to Daniel Bryan coming back to the wrestling ring.
Yeah, true.
So it wasn't all bad.
So, and then we got Money in the Bank coming up. That's a lot of fun. Royal Rumble, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, gimmick matches. I feel like New Japan actually could, benefit from maybe some more gimmick matches.
Yeah, maybe.
Number 5. Larger than life characters. Look at Braun Strowman right there.
In New Japan, there's no supernatural characters. Evil is the closest, but I don't get the idea that he is in any way some sort of warlock.
Yeah, no.
Much
correct,
less,
yeah.
I guess Undertaker's the dead man. Does that necessarily mean he's undead? I don't think so.
Well, define undead. It's like The Walking. Like he's dead, but he's still up and around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they call him the dead man. That's confusing. Is he undead or no?
I think that I don't know. I honestly don't know. He still has powers. He still manipulate lightning and stuff.
No, I know. As does Kane. Kane's another larger than life supernatural character.
Yeah. No, they're really good at doing these characters.
You got Bray Wyatt, who especially upon his debut was fascinating. He's such a different take on anything they'd ever done. Granted, they bungled him in pretty much every respect since. You got Elias. Great character.
And like you said, you get Fandango or Breezango rather.
Yeah.
They're like cops, but for fashion.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you've got all these characters that, and like you said, because the WWE established that their universe can have these larger than life characters, it gives them the option to pursue those avenues.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure the next time we're going to get like a supernatural character like a Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
But you know, in NXT, you've got like the Velveteen Dream. You know, and he's not supernatural, but
No,
he's
but
certainly
he's-
larger than life. Yeah.
Well, just look at the how Prince Devitt, that character was portrayed in New Japan versus Finn Balor.
Oh, yeah, he's
in
kind of-
WWE.
yeah,
Like
that's
I know,
right, yeah.
I know. As Prince, he did the makeup and stuff, but I don't believe that they had his origins in a sort of mythology.
As opposed to the demon character.
Yeah.
Which does, so yeah, like you said, it gives more options. It's created some very interesting characters throughout the years. Obviously, you mentioned Undertaker, Kane, Bray Wyatt.
Well, even
Finn
now,
Balor.
you mean Braun is a larger than life personality. He's a larger than life character. I mean, he just successfully beat 3 people.
Yeah, and when you employ that level of destruction, I mean, he's essentially a horror movie monster. That's kind of what he is. But with he can also have a crush on Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
So there's that. So yeah, it does make things a bit more interesting, a bit more unpredictable. What are
Yes.
these? What's this character? Where's this character coming from? The Undisputed Era.
Yes.
Larger than life
Oh,
characters.
yeah, absolutely.
Number 4.
Or
Production value. Look at all that pyro.
I know. Look at that stage.
Oh my gosh. How many LEDs do you think is in this
Millions.
stage? Millions.
Millions of lights.
upon
And those are the
millions.
strobe lights that blinded you during that WrestleMania when we were in attendance.
That's why that's why I'm never going to go to WrestleMania again.
All that pyro, all those lights, but even just beyond the stage design, I mean, WWE can obviously afford or spare no expense when it comes to the opulence of their stage presentation.
Yeah, I mean they do now because they don't have pyro, but
Yeah, they kind of need some pyro back, I feel
that might
like.
come back.
But also, just in terms of the photography, I think of the television broadcast. Granted, WWE is not without its issues with all the smash cuts and zooming in and out and stuff.
Kevin Dunn effect. Yeah.
But rarely do I feel like in a WWE program that I miss spots.
Yeah, sure.
And there's a couple times, even during Dominion, where stuff was happening. I was like, I want to know what happened.
Yeah.
But based on camera work, whatever, we didn't get to see it or get to see it as well as I would have liked to.
WWE is a very polished product. They know how to put together a professional production. It shows. Even NXT is absolutely fantastic with their production. So yeah, their production value is absolutely second to none. There was a killer match between, I want to say, Show and Dragon Lee as part of the Best of the Super Juniors.
Is that when they just had the hard cam?
It was filmed like it was straight from 1983 in the Deep South. It was just one hard cam, no commentary. And you need some close-ups. You need you need some cameras in different places
It
to
helps
fully
the story being told for the television viewer. Yeah.
it helps you appreciate everything so much more.
Yep.
And that's WWE. I always thought it'd be really cool is if WWE did an actual card for Southpaw Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
With just the hard cam.
That'd be
that
cool.
could be a lot
That'd
of
be fun.
Number 3.
3.
WWE Network. I mean, this is a whole bag of just really, really good stuff right here.
Yeah, I mean the extent of the material they have in there, not just from WWE but other promotions, WCW, ECW, Mid South.
Oh man, yeah. That's one of the biggest things for me is just how large their library is. It is absolutely insane, and that seems to be a goal of theirs, to be like, the place where you can find as much wrestling as possible. And I hope they continue to grow that.
Yeah.
But
they also have that stuff. They have their original programming. I mean, beyond just NXT 205 Live. I don't really watch Camp WWE.
Yeah, I hear good things.
Yeah. And then you have the Edge and Christian show. All the documentaries.
The documentaries
they do
are fantastic.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Plus, they have a lot of the old documentaries they did prior to the network, the DVD releases. They have those up there, which are usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, the WWE Network's interface is cleaner,
Oh,
more
yeah.
streamlined.
Yeah.
Seems to work better than the web-based
Yeah.
New Japan World interface.
Yeah, it is New Japan. It's the New Japan interface. I'm kind of surprised they haven't put some more money into just, I don't know, figuring out how to make that just more simple, I guess.
How do you like the interface on the Fire Stick?
I mean, it's better. it's better. I just feel like WWE is so intuitive. The network is so intuitive, and the New Japan one, even on the Fire Stick, isn't that intuitive. You can find anything you want so easily on the network, and New Japan World is kind of the same. And so yeah, it's everything. Yeah, you're touching my feet.
Sorry.
It's the interface. It's the like just the deep library they have. The original programming, the documentaries. It really is just a celebration of pro wrestling, and only at $10 a month.
I know
we're not shills, but that's a freaking great deal.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And on top
pretty
of
good
that,
value.
And the pay-per-views.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, give me a break. So yeah, WWE Network, great stuff. Number two. It's got the deepest roster in wrestling.
I mean, right there, you have 3 guys that could be world champions in any promotion.
Yeah,
any promotion.
There's
and only one of them has a belt, and it's a mid-card title.
And it's a mid-card belt, yeah.
Between the main roster and NXT, the level of talent is unbelievable, based because WWE is basically willing to sign anybody they want.
Yeah, pretty
and
much,
have the
yeah.
means to do it.
Yeah.
And so they're just bringing in all the talent, and it seems like they're just going to sign all the talent they can and worry how to utilize them later.
Yeah, that's not great.
No, it's not a great philosophy.
But you never want to. That's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah. So in WWE, you have the club. Gallows and Anderson were the most dominant tag teams in New Japan.
Correct.
They come to WWE, and I don't know if it's based on a lack of vision, no plans for them, or just how stacked the talent level is in WWE. They haven't performed nearly to the level in terms of titles won, victories, so on and so forth, that they did in New Japan. You can make the same case perhaps for Finn Balor. Prince Devitt, especially after he started Bullet Club, was hot stuff. He's wildly popular in WWE. He's the first Universal Champion, but after he got hurt, he never really seemed to get to that same level.
Yeah.
So, and again, how much of that is not utilizing the talents you have signed to their fullest? How much of that is not having plans for them? How much of that is just trying to find a role for everybody because there's so much talent? Yeah,
I know. And let me ask you something. The 12th man on the bench in the WWE, so to speak. I'll put it this way. Who's worse? 12th man in the WWE or 12th man in New Japan? Like, would New Japan ever sign a guy like Big Cass? Today's New Japan?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, because he won't be able to perform up to their standards in the ring.
Right, yeah. But that being said, if you look at, like, how deep and who they are signing, who they're going after, like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting with, like, a guy like Big Cass, for example, or a guy like Jinder. I'm not sure if WWE would go down that route again. You know what I mean? Like, they're both kind of, I mean, Jinder's been around for a little while. But, like, a guy like Big Cass, who sort of lumbers about, and I like Big Cass just fine. He's whatever. But, like, they seem to just sign, like, the cream of the crop these days. Like, very, like, within the past 12 months.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, a guy like Enzo, who has, like, almost no talent in the ring, I wonder if WWE would sign a guy like that anymore. If he's just a mouth.
Oh, I don't know.
Not a lot of talent in the ring, you know?
I don't know.
It seems like because of how well NXT is coming together in terms of the level of talent, I'm not sure if a guy like that would.
Well, here, I mean, back in the early days of NXT when they were signing developmental talent, by that I mean having people that either had little to no actually wrestling experience, bringing them in, developing them all in-house, and then putting them on NXT. It seems like right now, the people they're signing for NXT, people from predominantly people from the indies, and a lot of developmental talent they're signing is international. And I wonder, I'm assuming that's part of Triple H's larger global localization plan, where they're going to have kind of NXT territories, or so it seemed, around the globe. But
I feel like because of what you just said and their tendencies these days to sign established indie stars, that level of their rosters are only getting deeper and deeper with really, really good talent. So I wonder if at some point within the next couple of years, the lower end guys in WWE are going to be better than the lower end guys in New Japan.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's heading towards that direction. I really do. Because the guys that they're bringing in, who hadn't wrestled before, it's going to be really hard for those guys to carve out their. It's going to be more and more difficult for them to carve out their thing when they're going against Adam Cole's and Ricochets.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Anyways, number one. NXT.
NXT's the best thing WWE has going right now.
It's my favorite thing in wrestling right now. Look at that. Look at the Undisputed Era right there. The level of talent in NXT. Am I doing it right? Like this?
I have to do it like that.
Yeah, you got to do an X. The level of talent in NXT is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
You got the high level of talent, the incredible depth of talent, but also you got they seem to be far freer to work how they wish. I don't know if it's necessarily. I don't know if it's to the same degree as wrestlers in New Japan, but it seems pretty darn comparable.
When you have Johnny Gargano putting on 2 takeover 5-star matches in a row, one with Almas, one with Ciampa, I would think that the answer to that question might be yes. I'm not sure now. Maybe the level of detail in the booking itself might not be the same. That might be the. I mean, I honestly, I don't know. I'm simply speculating. But
in terms of larger story beats, though,
yeah. And then obviously in NXT, they're not going to be doing pile drivers. They're not going to be doing stuff they let them do in New Japan. But they certainly seem to give them much more creative than they have on main roster, or much more creative liberties than on main roster.
I mean, NXT is this nice kind of middle ground between the best of New Japan in terms of creative freedom for the wrestlers, in terms of how they approach their matches, how they execute the storytelling beats in their matches, and how they portray their characters, along with main roster, where NXT, granted, more of the characters are far more grounded, but then you have characters like Velveteen Dream, who are definitely larger than life. So NXT really is kind of a nice middle ground between the in-ring competition of New Japan and the larger spectacle and presentation of WWE main roster. NXT is kind of a nice middle ground between the two of them.
It is the perfect. You're exactly right. It is the perfect middle ground. You've got the really, really good wrestling. You have because NXT's design aesthetic is outstanding. The same as New Japan in terms of comparing with New Japan, but then you have the production value of WWE. And then you have, on top of that, you have its home base of Full Sail, which is a terrific place, a smaller, more intimate crowd. It's everything perfect. It's everything perfect about pro wrestling. It's all the great stuff about pro wrestling put into one perfect hour of TV every single week, and then one amazing takeover every couple months. It really is the perfect hour of wrestling, and it comes to you thanks to WWE. So that's the number one reason. Why WWE is better in New Japan, because of NXT. But all that other stuff's that too. But So anyways, really good stuff. Fantastic list.
Yes, good stuff.
Awesome, everybody. Good job. Anyways, that's it for now. Be sure to leave your comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. Till next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.